Nation, what is up? We're back with another video, and in this video I'll be covering all the new DC Comics that came out this past week, and that is the week of November 23rd. This week we actually have a lot of great comics, and I'm covering 10 of them today. Yeah guys, here are my thoughts on 10 new comics. And to start it off, I'm going to talk about Robin number 8, written by Joshua Williamson and art by Gleb Melnikov. In this issue, we see Robin and Connor Hawke fight for the last time. Yep, Damian and Connor Hawke have a rematch. And it is super dope, guys. Like, Gleb Melnikov, his artwork is amazing. Like, it looks really good. I also gotta mention Max Dunbar. He does a couple of the pages as well. And both of their art styles, they go together very well. And I like it. Like, this whole issue is just action, guys. It's just Damian versus Connor Hawke. Non-stop fighting, a bunch of good panel layouts, a bunch of good inputs from the crowd, all the other fighters that already lost their 2 lives. You see Flatline talking, Ravager, and it's just a well-paced, non-stop, action-packed issue with good artwork. Now, by the end of the issue, we see Connor, he wins. Yep, Connor Hawke, he snaps Damian's neck, and you think, okay, Damian's done. And we see the demon that Mother Soul has been talking about finally be unleashed, because what Mother Soul has been doing is all these fighters dying. It's been feeding the island, the Lazarus Island, and now it has so much power of death that it can unleash this demon. But before it's unleashed, we see Damian, he gets back up, he's like, I'm ready to go again. I only got 1 life left. Because guys, you remember, every fighter gets 3 lives. If you lose all those lives, you're actually dead. If you just lose 2, then you come back. But Damian is now gonna risk his final life to take down this demon. And the final page, we see Connor Hawke, he just gets killed by the demon. Like, the demon puts its hand right through Connor Hawke's chest. And it's a way to end the issue. Like, it ended the issue on such, wow moments. It got me hyped for next issue. And yeah, just an overall solid issue. A good, I would say, penultimate issue to this whole Lazarus tournament storyline. Now, I do want to mention one other scene. Before Damian gets killed, before he's done, Connor's like, hey, you don't have to keep taking this abuse. You could die right now, you could come back to life. You'll still have your 3rd life. And Damian tells him, no, I've been taking abuse my entire life. And someone close to me died. We know as the reader, that's Alfred. And Damian sees this whole Lazarus tournament and him going on this journey as a punishment because he could not save Alfred. And that little scene, it was very emotional, and it made the entire issue feel better. I liked it. Yeah, there's good action, it's well paced. But for people, readers that want emotional moments and good character moments, it's here. Joshua Williamson, he puts everything together so well. He makes a good story. So yeah, guys, great issue of Robin. If you have not jumped on this series, you are really missing out. But for everyone who has, I highly recommend you check out this issue. Next up, we got Detective Comics the 1045. This issue is written by Mariko Tamaki, art by Dan Mora, and this is Nakano's Nightmare finale, the conclusion to the Fear State tie-in. And this issue, it's alright. The story itself is not as good as the rest of the storyline's been. The past 2 parts, Nakano and Batman's interactions, it's been paced well, there's been good dialogue, but this issue, everything comes together too quickly. The story is rushed, virus parasites are taken down like that. Like, really, they show up, they start taking over Gotham. You see Nightwing, Orphan, and Batwoman. They all get involved, and they take care of the situation so easily. Like, there's no threats, there's no danger, and it weighs down the issue for me. Like, when I was reading it, I was hyped at the beginning. I'm like, okay, this is good, stakes are high, and then they go away, like, so quickly. And Nakano and Batman's interactions, they're still good, but even their relationship is kind of rushed in this issue. Like, last issue you saw Nakano, he's not trusting Batman still. He wants his men here to take down the vigilantes like Batman and the rest of the Bat family. But here in this issue, Batman helps him out, and Nakano, he flips like that. Like, he goes from, oh, I'm against Batman and the vigilantes, to, oh, I have been looking at this all wrong. I have been looking at the vigilantes as the monsters, but there's other people, other monsters in Gotham City that I have to take care of. Which, that in itself is fine. But how he is at the beginning of the issue, switching up, being on Batman's side, basically by the end of the issue, it's too quick. For how much build-up we've had of Nakano, like, we've had like 20 issues. Actually, it started all the way back in Pierre J. Tomasi's run, the end of that run where Nakano was introduced and he was against Batman. And we've been going by that same status quo for many issues, over 20 issues, and one issue goes away like that. So yeah, the story, it feels very rushed. There's still some good dialogue and good moments, but the standout of this issue is the artwork by Dan Mora. Like, the artwork by Dan Mora is phenomenal. Like, there's so many good images in this book, guys. Like, the arts alone, you gotta buy this comic just for that. You gotta have a crappy story, but Dan Mora's artwork makes it way better. And there's one splash image in this issue that just shows Batman going through Gotham in the sky at night, and it looks amazing. Like, when I saw that, I'm like, that could be a full-on poster. It looked that good, guys. So yeah, artwork by Dan Mora, phenomenal. The writing by Mariko Tamaki, it was kind of not that good. Like, it could have been way better. It wasn't bad, like, the story wasn't terrible, but it had a lot more potential, and it didn't really meet up to that. So yeah, guys, good issue, but it's really for the arts. If you've been reading the series, then pick up this issue for the artwork and to conclude this storyline, but be a little skeptical for the next storyline. I'm very skeptical for the next storyline because I know that next issue is actually the last issue we'll be having Dan Mora for a while. Starting on issue number 1047, we'll be having new artists because we'll be starting that whole Batman event, Shadows of the Bats, which sounds kind of interesting, but with Dan Mora leaving and Mariko Tamaki staying on writing duties, I don't know, like, she's proven to be hit or miss. Sometimes I really like her Detective Comics run. Other times, the artwork is really carrying the book. So we'll see. I'm still excited for Shadows of the Bats, but I am a little skeptical. Now, next up on our list, we got Catwoman number 37. This is the conclusion to Ram V's tie-in into Fear States. And guys, this issue is really good. Like, not only is it fun and it ties into Fear State really well, but it also concludes Ram V's Catwoman run. Yes, he does have one more issue. There's still one more issue where he can wrap things up, but honestly, if he ended it right here, it would still be satisfying. Like, this is a good concluding issue. You start out, you see Harley, Catwoman, and the Gardener fighting off against the White Witch, and it's a good action sequence. Not a lot happening. It just starts the issue out on a very fast-paced note, But then we see Riddler get involved, we got the Penguin, and you see the team up between the Riddler and Catwoman, and in a very interesting way, like Selina tricks him. Selina tricks Nigma, and it is awesome, guys. Like, the twist in this issue is really good, and how the Magistrate is involved, it raises the stakes. Now, by the end of the issue, we get a surprise character who shows up, which is Ghostmaker. And Ghostmaker, I'm mixed on his character. I know a lot of people like him, think he's a great character. Me, personally, I think he's alright. Like, his design is really cool. Like, I like that ninja side of it. But most of the time, his dialogue sucks, and it's not as good. But guess what? Here, I don't even think he gets dialogue. He just shows up and he fights with Catwoman to take down the White Witch. And it's dope. Like, you see him full action, using his sword, taking down the enemy, and it's really cool, and that's all he does. I think this was a good, limited way to use his character. Instead of going full in, him using all his, like, silly dialogue and taking away from the issue. Now, at the end of the issue, we have Selina basically recapping what she learned in this run. Ramvi wrote this whole run, it's been really good, and Selina's gone through a lot in Alleytown, and we see how much Alleytown has grown, how much the Strays have grown, and we see the Strays in action in this issue. And by the end of the issue, you get this cast shot where Selina is just standing with everyone else who has teamed up with her in this run. And it's a good way to end the issue off. So yeah, guys, if you've been enjoying this run, I highly recommend this issue. And honestly, you just want a fun issue with a lot of action, good interactions between Selina and Nigma, then check this issue out. Next up, we got Batman Reptillian number 6. This is the final issue of Garth Ennis and Liam Sharp's Black Label Batman miniseries. And this is a good issue. It's not the greatest ending, but I still accept it. Like, it's a very fun issue. You see Batman, he takes down the monster he's been hunting this entire story, the offspring of Killer Croc, and it's really cool. Like, seeing Batman at last issue, he went inside the monster, like, right through the mouth. Like, Batman just jumped in, everyone thought he was dead. In this issue, he cuts his way out. We get an epic splash image that shows him taking down the monster once and for all, and it's really dope. Like, I like the issue. But from there, things kind of wrap up very quickly. Like, the monster is defeated, Batman gives Killer Croc off to the government, so now they can experiment with him and see if any other offspring will come from him, and then Batman just goes back to the usual. Alfred is like, okay, cool, you're okay, I'm glad you're okay, I thought you died, or you're doing something crazy, and Batman's like, nah, Alfred, don't worry, it's time for the next exciting installments in my journey, my war on crime. And that's it. That's all that happens. If you're expecting something big to happen, like, all you should expect is he would beat the monster and that'd be it. But if you're expecting something like, oh, a grand finale, something huge, Garth Ennis really showing how much he knows about Batman's character. No, it's more like, okay, he has a different take on Batman's character. He just wanted to tell a simple story, and I'm fine with that. Like, this version of Batman, even though he is more of a jerk, I like it. Like, it's funny how he acts, his dialogue, it's different from the usual. And I'm fine with that. This is a Black Label comic. It's not supposed to be in line with the regular comics coming out. It's supposed to be kind of different, and whatever the creator, or in this case, Garth Ennis, wants. Now, the artist, Liam Sharp, he does phenomenal work here. Like, his last issue, his art was kind of muddled and not as detailed, but here, his artwork is really detailed. It looks like he didn't rush at all. Like, it looked like Liam Sharp had time, he put in the efforts, and he did a great job. Like, I really like his artwork in this issue. How he draws the Batmobile, like, this one page that shows shows Batman going to the Batmobile, and the Batmobile, it looks amazing. There's another image that I like where Batman is like hovering above Killer Croc, who's walking away, and they're both by the sewers, and how it's drawn and like the angles, it looks really cool. And there was moments in this issue just like that where I stopped reading and I just stared at the artwork. That's how good it looked. So yeah, guys, if you've been enjoying the series, you read this far, finish it up, I recommend it. Next up, we got DC versus Vampires #2, and this issue I really like. I actually thought it was better than the first one. Like, we start out, we see the vampire, Hal Jordan, he destroys Anton Arcane. So you already know, guys, the story gets off quick. Like, we get straight into the story, non-stop, good pacing, and I really like it. But most of the issue we see is Batman. He gathers the Bat family in the middle of the day. He gets them in the top of like Wayne Manor, where the sun is coming through, and he tries to see if any of them are a vampire. It's revealed that none of them are. We see Barbara Gordon, Batgirl, Nightwing, Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Red Hood, Damian Wayne, Robin, Tim Drake, Orphan, and yeah, I think that was it. But they're all around, they're talking about this. Batman is revealing all he knows about the whole vampire incident, how he got notes from Andrew Bennett, don't trust no one, there's vampires in the loose. But one thing Batman leaves out is the serum that Lex Luthor gave to Andrew Bennett, who then sent to Batman. And Batman tells Alfred, I didn't want to tell them, because I'm going to keep that to myself. The fate of humanity is at stake. Sorry, you guys know that line right there shows how high stakes the story is. But it's not like, oh, just fights and action. No, there's a lot of good character moments too. So high stakes story combined with good character moments, you got yourself a really fun story that's written well. Now, Batman eventually is like, okay, I can trust you guys, mostly. And Dick Grayson, Nightwing, his initial thing is, wait, we're gonna kill him? You want us to kill now? And Batman's like, they're already dead. Like, yeah, we gotta take him down. And I really like this line because a lot of times in zombie apocalypse stories or vampire stories, you have these characters who have a chance to take down the vampire, take down the zombie, but they won't because they're like, oh, I want to kill, I got my morals and my judgments, like I can't go against that. I'm like, you're in a zombie apocalypse or you're in a vampire incident. You gotta do what you gotta do. Like, those people, either your friends and they're a zombie now, they're taken, they're done. You gotta keep yourself alive and keep the people around you alive as well, the people who are still alive. Like, stop worrying about the zombie and the vampire, like, they're gone. I like that Batman addresses that and tells Nightwing straight up, yeah, you're not killing, like, don't think of it that way, they're already dead. Simple as that. Now, Batman does mention the Mad Monk in this issue, and I really like that reference, because you guys don't know who the Mad Monk is. He's the villain from Detective Comics number 31. Yep, one of the very first comics in that line. We're now on Detective Comics 1045. It's been a long time. But the famous cover where Batman, he's in the background. You know, the classic Batman with the purple gloves. And you see the Mad Monk getting away. Now, the Mad Monk, he has shown up in some other Batman comics over the years, but not that much. But having him here and connecting him with Supernatural and the vampires, I find it really interesting. Like, Batman talks about the Mad Monk saying, oh, the first time I went against him was my first step in the supernatural. And he thinks that the Mad Monk is behind this. Because as we know in this issue, Hal Jordan, he has a master. He does. He's following some orders. And we don't know who that master is. We don't know who that main villain is. Could it be the Mad Monk or someone else? Now, aside from the good interactions and great main plots with Batman and the Bat family, We do get a subplot with Green Arrow going after some vampires. He takes down the Everyman, and it's a great sequence. This entire issue is illustrated and drawn by Otto Skimmett, and Otto Skimmett's artwork is simply phenomenal. It looks really good, especially how he draws Green Arrow. I really like it. Now, by the end of the issue, we get big game-changing moments. We see Hal Jordan, which we know is a vampire. He lures Barry Allen, the Flash, out into the middle of nowhere. They sit in some chairs, then they chat a little bit. We know the Green Lantern and the Flash are great friends. They have history. Well, Hal Jordan, he talks about that, and then he kills Barry. First, Hal is like, I'm sorry, Barry, I wanted to turn you to a vampire. We could rule the world together, following my master. We could have did that, but my master said that you're too powerful. So basically, the metahumans, all metahumans, need to be taken down. That's what the master of Hal Jordan wants. So then all that's left is like Batman and other heroes who don't have powers. Other heroes that should be taken down easily. But still, at the end of the issue, Hal Jordan, he kills Barry. Barry's dead. And that's it. That's how the issue ends. And I like it. It's a well-paced issue. The art's good. The story's written well. And I'm excited to see where Matthew Rosenberg and James Tynion IV will take this vampire story. So yeah, guys, if you like the first issue of the series, I highly recommend this one. Next up, we got Task Force Z #2, and this is a great issue. It's very fast-paced, wild, and how it starts out, we see Jason. He's about to be eaten by the Arkham Knights. The Arkham Knight is crawling toward him, gonna eat him to pieces, but then Mr. Bloom saves him, and Mr. Bloom takes down Mr. Freeze as well. So right at the bat, the story is off to a fast-paced note, and the entire issue centers around Jason, him wanting to leave, but then he's sucked back into it, and he has Bane, well, an undead Bane, an undead Man-Bat on his team, Mr. Bloom, Arkham Knight, who's also undead. We actually see Astrid Arkham talk a little bit in this issue, like she's almost normal, but then she goes back to being just wild. But yeah, Jason, he has a team with different characters, different villains, and they go off on a new mission to retrieve a new member. Now, also, we see Mrs. Hobart join Jason on the mission. At first, I'm like, okay, why is she joining? She'll get killed. Like, she don't have no powers. Like, they show up to Cobra Cults. Yeah, Task Force Z, they show up to this one place. They fight off against an army of Cobra Cults agents. You see Bane just killing people, Man-Bats killing people, and it is crazy. And then we see Mrs. Hobart in the dark. She like has like an exorcist. Well, no, not exorcist. She turns into like this big, horrific monster, you could call it. Like, it freaked me out. I can imagine being in that situation, being Jason, and just being like, oh no, we don't need this problem now. And she actually almost eats Jason and the other team members of Task Force Z. But then Jason, he handles the situation, that's it. But yeah, Mrs. Hobart, she may need an exorcist next issue, for sure. Like, I agree with Jason's line in this issue. By the end of the issue, though, we get the reveal that the next undead member joining the team is Deadshot. And how the issue ends, Deadshot, he shoots Jason right in the stomach, and we're like, oh, is Jason gonna die again? We don't know. Last issue ended with Jason possibly dying, and now it's kind of the same thing, like he's maybe gonna die, maybe not, and some people may find that repetitive, but I honestly like it. Like, the writing in the series isn't like phenomenal, it's just basic, very simple, good dialogue, good interactions between Mr. Bloom and Jason, but that's all I want. I just want a decent Rin story, fun visuals, like the artwork is very good, it fits its tone, and the story is just wild. Like, it's a very fun story, and I highly recommend it. Next up, we got Deathstroke Inc. Number 3, written by Joshua Williamson, arts by Howard Porter, and already I'm gonna say Howard Porter's artwork is really good, it fits its tone, the action is great in this issue, and the arts overall, I really like it. For the story by Joshua Williamson, it really kicks into high gear. This is the best issue yet for this series. So far, this Deathstroke series, it's just been alright. I like the idea of Deathstroke thinking about becoming a hero, and he's going back and forth on that, him teaming up with Black Canary, that's been nice. But the story for the series so far has just been okay, he's under trust, just go on some missions, and that's it. But this issue starts to reveal more about the story, and it actually got me more intrigued. Now, before we get to the big parts of the issue, what we mostly see in this issue is Deathstroke. He comes across the Queen of Fables, and he's transported to this fantasy world where Cheetah rules. And he comes in contact with Cheetah, they fight. Cheetah and Deathstroke's interactions are great, we get a good action sequence that's very fast paced, but eventually Deathstroke takes Cheetah down and they turns her into the Trust organization so now she could pay for her crimes from what she did with the Legion of Doom. From there though, we also got Black Canary. She's looking to the Trust organization because she does not trust him. And her and the new Toy Man, they're both very skeptical and they're looking into it. But what we do find out is the reveal of Libra. Yep, Libra. We see the costume Libra. If you don't know who Libra is, he's one of the heralds of Darkseid who showed up in Final Crisis. And if this was just a regular title that didn't really connect to anything, I wouldn't really care. It's just like, okay, they're just bringing some Final Crisis stuff to raise the stakes. But no. This series is written by Joshua Williamson, the same writer who's doing the whole Infinite Frontier storyline, where Darkseid, the Empty Hand are involved, and now that Libra may get involved in the series, I'm hyped. Like, it gets me very interested. When I saw that costume this issue, I was like, wait, Libra? We have not seen that in a while, since Final Crisis. So yeah, it gets me more interested in the story, more interested in the Trust organization. Before I just thought it was okay, there's just manipulating villains, and they'll just be a whatever villain, like I won't care. But now, they actually have some background and something to make them interesting. But by the end of the issue, we see Black Canary let out to the rain, Deathstroke behind her, about to stab her, and next issue we see Deathstroke and Black Canary fighting it off against each other. That's gonna be a good battle, and yeah, good issue, guys. If you've been enjoying the series, I highly recommend this issue because it's the best one yet. And you've been feeling like the series has kind of been a slog, you haven't been enjoying as much, and you kind of been just holding out because Joshua Williamson, he's a good writer, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna stick it out, then don't worry, this issue is the one where it finally starts to kick into high gear. So yeah, guys, Deathstroke Inc. number 3, I recommend it. Next up, we got Aquaman, Green Arrow, Deep Target number 2, and this is just a fast-paced, fun issue. The artwork is phenomenal, it fits its own, and this issue we see Green Arrow, Aquaman, they're on a plane, they try to get to a destination, but then they get attacked. You see all these soldiers get on the plane, they're attacking, you see Aquaman, you guys still remember last issue, Aquaman and Green Arrow basically switched. Now Oliver has the trident, he's Aquaman, and Arthur, he's in the hood, he's Green Arrow. So you see Arthur, he's shooting arrows non-stop, taking down the soldiers on top of the plane. You got Oliver using the trident, spinning it, just causing waves to come out of the ocean to take down the soldiers. It's super action-packed, really dope, and I just like the creativity that's used in the story. How the trident is used, how Arthur shoots his arrows, and how the artwork illustrates the sequences. So yeah, by the end of the issue, we see this one guy show up who is obviously the villain, and he looks like a big threat. He gets involved, and he starts fighting against Green Arrow and Aquaman. And that's how the issue ends. It's a very quick issue, not a lot happens, it's just a big action sequence, but it's still a good issue that you should pick up. Like, if you're an Aquaman and Green Arrow fan, then I highly recommend this issue. Next up, we got Superman 78, number 4, and this is a good middle issue for the entire series. We see Superman, he's in the bottled sea of Condor, and he's dealing with trying to take up where his father was, trying to be the leader for the remaining remnants of Krypton, and I like it. It's well paced. You see Superman dealing with this conflict, and then we have on Earth, Lex Luthor and Lois Lane are teaming up trying to get Superman back. And Lex, he reaches out to the bald sea of Condor, he gets the attention of Brainiac, and at the end of the issue we see Brainiac make it back to Earth, and he's like, who challenges me? I left Earth because I thought there was no other person that could beat me, so I took Superman away and just left humanity, but now someone else has called me. Who has done it? And we know it's Lex. Lex has planned this all out, and now we have Lex Luthor versus Brainiac. And I just like Lex in this series. He's so confident, and he's like, oh, I'm smart. I can take down Brainiac. I'm the smartest man in the world. And you see Superman's father, Jor-El, kinda entertain that in this issue, and Superman's response to that is hilarious. All the dialogue, all the interactions between characters are really well done, and at the end of the issue, you see Metropolis be lifted above the ground into the sky, and Brainiac about to destroy it. So the stakes are high, everyone's waiting for Superman to get free from the bald sea of Condor and save Metropolis once again. And I'm hyped. Like, this issue is written so well. The artwork fits the tone. And yeah, guys, if you've been enjoying the series, I highly recommend this issue. Moving on to our last new comic book of the week. This is actually my favorite one. This was my pick of the week. The Flash, number 776. This issue is a masterpiece. Now, what we see at the beginning of the issue, we got Flash and Dr. Fates. They're in a two-dimensional causeway, and they have to make it through all these hallways, caverns, and lakes. And by the end of the issue, they get to Gem World. And next issue, they'll team up with Justly Dark to take down Eclipso. So, high stakes, good interactions between Flash and Dr. Fates that I really like. But what makes this issue so good is how creative it is. The artwork is phenomenal, and what we see, guys, is throughout the issue, Flash and Dr. Fates, they get in very bad situations, and what happens is both Flash and Dr. Fates, they talk to the reader. They break the fourth wall, and you as the reader decide where the story goes. Basically, like, they tell you to flip the comic book upside down, flip it horizontal, do this, do that, so then they can survive. And it makes the reader's experience really fun. I had a really fun time reading this, and I actually got it in physical formats, because this is actually one of the issues that you gotta get at your local comic book shop. This is just be your go-to for the week, because how much, like, you're involved. Like, this issue gets you involved. It's not like you just read a story and enjoy it. No, you're actually involved in the story. you have a say on where the story goes. And that's awesome. This whole series so far, this run by Jeremy Adams, has been so creative, like how Wally West became Flash again, took up the mantle, now he's teaming up with Dr. Fate and going through all these caverns and different dimensions. It's crazy. This is what a Flash comic book should be. So yeah, pick of the week, a 10 out of 10 for me. This is the best comic book this month. Like, I'm gonna praise it that much. It's just so creative and unique. So yeah, guys, if you've been enjoying The Flash, if you're a fan of The Flash, or if you just want a comic book that gets you, the reader, involved, then I highly recommend this issue. So that's all the new DC Comics that came out this past week, but now it's time for our back haul pull. And this week, I got Batman Year 2, and yeah, it's written by Mike W. Barr, and it's not the best comic book, I'm not gonna lie. I was looking at the Rec Comics, and last week I picked Batman Year 1 as the back haul pull, and I was like, okay, this week, let's do Batman Year 2. Even though both their comics do not connect in no way, you would think that comics called Year 1 and Year 2 would just segue perfectly, like, okay, this is Batman's origin, now let's see how he continues, let's see how Commissioner Gordon's story continues. Oh, in Year 1, Batman, the cops, the police were against him, he was in trouble, Gordon was against him mostly, but in Year 2, they're totally on his side. Like, that's all over with. Batman, he's doing well, he's just chilling, like, him and Commissioner Gordon are best buds, and it's alright. It's like, I like when stories connect, especially when one's called Year 1, the other's called Year 2, but yeah, if you're expecting Year 2 to continue the story Year 1, you'd be disappointed. But what does happen in the story, you see this character called the Reaper. Yeah, the Reaper. He shows up, he's got some trouble, and Batman, he needs to take him down. And Batman, he fights him once, but the Reaper is too powerful, he takes him down, he cuts him up, and then Batman's choice, his decision is, okay, my strength, my skill, it wasn't enough. So, I've always dreaded this, but perhaps the only way to avenge my parents is to fight my enemy on his own terms, to fight the kind of men who killed them with the weapon that made me what I am, the gun that took their lives. Now, this is when I need to cut that off, alright? Like, this week, it's kinda, I don't know about that. So, Bruce decides, instead of just being Batman and taking down the Reaper, he's gonna use the gun that killed his parents to fight. That's why the cover has Batman holding a gun. The idea of Batman going against his whole thing on guns, oh, I don't use guns, I don't kill people, and just be like, nah, I'm gonna use guns and just to hell with it. It could be interesting, but how it's executed here is not that good. Like, Bruce just jumps to it very quickly. It's like, okay, I'm gonna use this gun, I don't care. And the fact that after Bruce saw his parents die, he grabbed the gun and hid it behind the picture of his parents in Wayne Manor, that's kinda messed up. Now from there we see Joe Chill get involved, Batman and the Reaper fight again, and the Reaper's taken down. It's a very simple story after that, not that much happens. The big thing, or the big takeaway from the story, is that Batman uses a gun. That's it. Not that much happening. Now the artwork is good, but the thing I don't like about the story sometimes is how grotesque it is. Like, Mike W. Barr goes too far at times, and how the story ends, it's kind of boring. Like, it's not worth the time. But guys, one unique thing about this story is that it actually inspired The Mask of the Phantasm animated movie. Yep, the best DC, or at least one of the best DC animated movies of all time. Batman the Mask of the Phantasm took inspiration from Batman Year 2, this story. So that's one reason to read it. That's actually the reason that I picked it up. But overall, this story, it's not terrible, but it ain't great either. It's not on like your top 10 Batman stories. It's very down there. Like, it's not a great story. But still, if you want a story that sees Batman using a gun, just something different, then check it out. But yeah, that's gonna be the back haul poll for this week. You guys, tell me your thoughts on Batman Year 2 down below. Also, tell me what your pick of the week was. My pick of the week, I'll remind you, was The Flash, number 776. That issue is just so good. But what was your pick of the week? And what did you think about all the new DC Comics that came out this past week? But yeah, guys, if you like the video, give a big thumbs up. New channel, make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on my next DC Comics video. And yeah, thanks for watching, and peace out.